Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Will Eisner's Spirit, the Artisan edition. A lot lighter than the Artist edition. Now, I don't know when the Artist edition came out. I mean, I would have loved to have bought it. I didn't. But sometimes, I've got about 13 now, I notice, of Artist editions. They are super heavy. And I must admit, I regret not picking up the Spirit one. But still, this is a great one to get if you haven't got that. Of course, you get both. The one thing about these Artisan editions is that obviously they're a lot lighter, a lot easier to pick up, and you can just read them anywhere. Whereas you can't really take this up on the train. It's one of those things I quite often try on the train and read. Artist edition would be a bit sort of ridiculous walking around with that. There's the details. Also, another thing, they're cheaper. Normally, artist editions, $129, $150, those sort of prices in the UK. And they're $39.99. In the UK, I picked up this, I think it was £24, £25, that sort of price. Sometimes £30 odd pounds you could find copies of. Probably in the shops, you might find them slightly more expensive. Okay, let's just go through the book itself. Will Eisner, The Spirit Artisan Edition. Now, that's one thing I slightly was disappointed with. I'm just going to mention that later, that they did include a lot. I'm not mentioning it now, I just mentioned it. Is that between all the stories, they include this, which is fine, absolutely nothing wrong. But there's probably about 10 or 15 of these, and you think, wouldn't it be nicer if they just included an additional story than this, which is absolutely fine to have this detail, but it just seems to be lots of pages that unfortunately could have been used for the brilliant Spirit artwork. But I also got some other ones, Will Eisner. Now, unfortunately, I haven't got as many as I used to. I had loads of them, The Contract with God, all those sort of books, lots of the Harvey ones, Kitchen Sink. Sadly, I got rid of them over the years, but they were always great to read. I loved picking up every month. I would go and get whatever it was, bi-monthly. I just loved picking up those magazines and just seeing the Eisner's work. Spirit was just amazing. The reprints, beautiful. I keep thinking I must buy a few more of those. Maybe next comic convention I must have a look for some. But this one is a brilliant book. This is The Champion of the Graphic Novel, Paul Leibovitz. And it's just beautiful. There's some actually, obviously you can see some of the original artwork here as well. And actually this one's included in the Artisan edition. And there's many others as well. Just a lovely book, really worth checking out. If you can find a copy of this, this is Abraham's Comic Arts. And also this, which is very nice, Comic Book Artist one, Will Eisner. Really good little volume as well. Now, let's get back to the actual Artisan. I hope they continue to bring out more and more of these. I just love this series. It's just absolutely special. Whenever these turn up, not everyone has been superb, but most good. I don't know how many they've got now. 15 or 20 of them. Quite a lot. They're all just brilliant. Just revelation, just seeing these. You've got all the details there. Now, the stories are from 1947, and it goes chronological all the way through to 1950. So you can see there, 1950. See all the different stories there included. 144 pages throughout this. And you've got a lovely introduction, which actually clears up a few things that I didn't realise. I thought, I wonder where the source is, etc., the material. So it is really quite nice. And I loved about the zinc plates. Just absolutely fascinating. Those sort of stories are always... I would love to have seen some photos of all these things as well. It would have been quite impressive to see. But on to the actual stories. The splashes, of course, were always amazing. I loved the splashes. Also, another thing about Will Eisner's Spirit, just the humanity. The stories were just great. The relationships between Ellen, everyone, just stunning. Brilliant. And though it's quite wordy, when you actually look at it, compared with most modern comics, you would not get that amount of word, but still, not an issue at all. I think it's just the stories flow absolutely beautiful. It's got so many great characters, it turns out. You know, there's people you think, Pigel, etc. But that's an obvious one, Sans Serif. Those sort of people. I love that one, Sans Serif. But they're February 1947, and it's just all the way the panels are constructed, the story flows, just every sort of, the idea is never ever sort of a regular panel either. It's not like 6 on a page. There's it works. It just really works. All the timing, the pacing of these stories, just beautiful. And there really are some great touching. So I really wish they hadn't done this. I mean, it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, you've got the quotes down there. which is good. But they could have maybe put that right at the start, maybe, and used some of these pages with another story. It would have been great. But I mean, I love the rain. Obviously, I don't normally like the rain, but I love the rain in these. And I love these characters. You got the characters. I think as soon as you see those characters, you know where you think, that comes from a certain other comic strip. And there's Big Girl there. Just how long do you intend to stay here? Toothpaste? Just great names. And you got Big Girl. And obviously there. Beautiful. Now, most of these stories are only about 8 pages, 7 or 8 pages. They're very short, but still full of story. Every panel has so much in them. I mean, that's the thing you just got here. Just walking away, the officer there walking away. And it's just brilliant. Just the way that, just a simple look, simple things, just beautiful. Beautiful. Just the use of the eyes. Everything about these stories are great. Now, there's, of course, this villain, Octopus. I don't know if we ever actually see the octopus. And the thing is, I suppose, who knows? Maybe, of course, whenever they ripped off his mask or something, it always turned out to be another mask and another mask sort of thing. That sort of thing. I vaguely remember always. I think it spoils it if you ever actually reveal who it is. I mean, it's like with, obviously, Norman Osborn. When you think those sort of things, you suddenly reveal it. You think, oh, right, that's who it is. Sort of spoils it. Turns out to be Dolan. Or something. You think, really? No, that wouldn't have been. But still, obviously got their evil mastermind. I mean, not every story, but the thing was the female characters for me were always just the War Brides one there, Spirit again, Spirit section must have been great getting those when they came out. Just picking them up off obviously on the Sunday, and there's another one there again. Not certain why they included those sections, but still, Spirit again, brilliant splash there. Of course, there wasn't a cover for these. I suppose they could have done that, but it would have been odd in a newspaper, I guess. But it's really super sharp. I mean, this is just beautiful to see. And Evil Gun, I love that one. That was just great as well. The gun, it's evil. I feel it. Take it away. That's the thing with Will Eisner stories. It could be a simple thing, just something in the story that would flow all the way through, and you think, wow. Who would do a story about that sort of... You can't imagine a Spider-Man comic, maybe you can, I don't know, where they had a story where there was an evil gun. Just, would it happen in modern comics? I don't think so. This is not a funny story. This is could write something for him with a little bit more depth. I think lots of his stories have got a lot of depth. I mean, maybe they're not obviously up there with Shakespearean sort of... But I think that in terms of comic books, this is the Shakespeare, as far as I'm concerned, for comics. Maybe people might be thinking, oh, no. But I think it is. Just love this Spirit. This is not a funny story. And it is a very sad and also a happy story in a weird way. I mean, you've got this character. But who would put this guy? We're going to put you as a night watchman. I think that's just going to work. And that's the thing about that story, isn't it? It obviously is not really night watchman material. Not any criticism of that. But it's just still virtually bang right on the head. And that would probably happen to me as well. I'm quite certain. Oh, Andrew, you're going to be night watchman? Oh, yeah. I'd last about 3 seconds. But he's still the flying. And he obviously, I'll be famous. Just really touching, beautiful, beautiful stories. Just wanders through. And he does that quite often, Will Eisner, where you've got characters that just go and just like deviation in their life, just move off, and they go... Things just don't always work out. Some meet a horrible fate. I'm not going to spoil the story on that one. Spirit, yet another one of those brilliant splashes. Now, not all the classic splash pages are in here. Now, that would have been a nice extra, if they had them. I don't know if they've got them. Of course, that's one of the things, isn't it? You can only put in what you've got. I mean, hopefully there'll be a second edition. I would love to see a second, third, fourth, fifth edition if this material is available. I think all those stories, Spirit, would be great to include. Again, lots of rain there. Oh, yes. Denny Colt there again. A bit of spoiler. Now, it's slightly odd, of course. Anyone, of course, would be able to tell who he is, like Batman, of course, but that's just not the thing. But there's a lovely one with the Taxman story later on. And sort of thing, again, that I suppose Spidey did have those things where he said he goes to try and write a cheque and he's put Spider-Man or something. He said, well, have you got a bank account? All those sort of things. Where can I put it? Well, bit awkward sometimes. I don't know how you would do that. Of course, didn't really hurt for Bruce Wayne. It was perfectly reasonable, wasn't it? But Spirit, and again, the rain was always the thing, and pictures of obviously of the city as well, just stunning. And also, I love the way that like newspapers and things quite often were just draped up, sort of in the rain, just beautifully done. And sometimes you'd have these sort of scenes where the heat and everyone would be sweating away, and it would like drip in everything. All the rain would be running everywhere. Just absolute sort of thing you do not see generally. Actually, that's one thing in comics, and probably someone could turn around and say that's not true. Very rarely do you see weather in comic books. Not so much, where everyone literally is sweating all the time as part of the story, that the scene, everything is... I mean, obviously there are ecological stories where they've done, but not normally sort of like really weather impinges anything. Thanos, whatever battling against, there's never any sort of rain or anything. It never rains on the days that Thanos decides to do something. But here, rain and those sort of things, sort of everything appears. And I think that the ones where he does in Florida and those sort of things, I don't think that's in here. But there's those sort of stories are just great. But this is just beautiful, absolutely. And I love the fact they include this sort of thing as well at the top. The Spirit, it says December 18th, 1949, silver printed. It's got here, page 6, the fun book Spirit, will stamp there. Philadelphia, December 18th. That's just great. Now, now these ones, Spirit, you've got another one here. And you've got other codes as well. But this is the one. You got the Inland Revenue, individual income tax return, Wildwood Cemetery, sort of things. You put that down, and of course, his identity. Who is he? And you've got obviously Spirit. It is a tricky one, I guess. Those sort of characters, wouldn't it? But still, Happy New Year! What a great one to end on the whole thing. December the 31st, 1950. And again, look at the use of the words. Lettering is just superb all the way through this. Just bang. So you've got ring, ring, just really, really. And then I love this sort of use. Cut on this line, the Spirit, and you've got the newspaper there. Just great. Very wonderful use of all kinds of techniques to tell a story. Magical stories. And of course, it's got the back here because he died in 2005. And you got here all the way around 144 pages of real magic, brilliant comics. And or newspaper strips, what do you want to call it? Actually, I'm surprised they haven't done more of these sort of done in newspaper strip ones. Maybe the material's, of course, long, long gone. But I would love to see anything like this. I just really hope that IDW continue to bring out these absolutely amazing, I think, just the best editions. As far as I'm concerned, they are ones that I will never get rid of. I always say that with my books. I'm not going to get rid of that. Never get rid of it. But I think when it comes to these ones, these Artisan editions, they are definitely not going to be got rid of because they're just beautiful. And I think there's one coming out. Oh, the Mutants one. No, Bill Snot. I can never say his name. But anyway, there is another one coming out fairly soon. So you can check, obviously, online to find out. And I hope that, of course, many more Artisan editions do come out. I did see somewhere else. Oh, no, there was... they're bringing out more DC ones. They were talking about Neil Adams one. And I was thinking, yes, artist edition. Again, I'm thinking I'd prefer to wait for the Artisan edition. But I know that reality is... It's like I got recently, I just bought the Reed Crandall one. I will be doing one of that. But artist edition, because I'm thinking, will they ever do? I don't think they will. That's why I thought I must get the artist edition. But the Neil Adams one sounds great. I probably think, I'll probably get that. But it's probably going to be expensive, be super heavy. And, but they're just great. But I hope they bring out more DC ones, DC comics, because they haven't brought out many DC ones. And there was a suggestion in this article, it was on the 13th Dimension. And it said Absolute Frontier. And I was thinking, yes, that would be one I would love to see. An artist edition of that. If the material's available and it comes out in that sort of artist edition, that would be brilliant. But there's so many. Of course, Golden Age DC Comics. There's not probably much material, unfortunately. But hopefully, maybe some, obviously, the 60s, 70s material. Lots of great artists. Well, anyway. Completely off subject of this Will Eisner one. This is absolutely amazing. I really, really recommend this one. If you're going to get an Artisan edition, I think this has got This is just a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece.